If you're having problems with your maintenance required light staying on your Honda Insight, when you start the car, everything's good except the maintenance required light stays on. And you've tried pressing the trip button multiple times, holding it down, cycling it, and this light still stays on. I'm going to show you how to take this apart and fix this. Just take this plastic cover out that overlaps the steering column. You can just take the top half out, pry it up. There's two Phillips head screws underneath this bezel that you'll have to remove from here and here. And when you start prying all this away, just use your fingernails or a small flathead screwdriver. Be careful not to break the plastic. This will overlap right in the steering column a little bit, and you'll pull this loose, get most of all this plastic out of the way. Be careful not to break these connectors. As you can tell, there's small tabs on the bottoms, top. And there's 4 Phillips head screws in the corner, on all 4 corners of the instrument cluster. You'll want to remove them, and then the instrument cluster just pretty much slides up out of there. And there's 2 green connectors on the back side. If you can gain access to the top, is where the connectors are removed easiest. The tabs are on the top, left and right. Once the cluster is out, you're going to notice this front side plastic bezel will need to be removed, and there's black clips all along the edge here that will have to be removed. And since there's multiple clips, it's pretty handy to have a few flathead screwdrivers and pry them down and leave the screwdrivers in each tab to pop this off. After the bezel's been removed, you'll notice the contacts all seem fine, but there's no continuity made when this button is pressed. The back side of this panel will need to be removed as well. There's clips around the edges, as the same on the front side, and one in the center that will need to be removed. And when you pry all this loose, you'll notice that there's 2 individual circuit boards for the plus and minus and for the trip meter. 1 small Phillips screw will need to be removed, and this plug can just be pulled out of the circuit board very gently, not to break the circuitry. And the trip button is on this side. What you can do is actually pinch this and pull the rubber out of the switch, and you'll very carefully notice the contacts inside. And what happens over time, this needs to be cleaned, and you'll see a little bit of corrosion built up on those plates. The best way I've found to clean these contacts once you have the button removed is just by using a small flathead screwdriver and just lightly scraping over the contacts to clean them up to where they're shiny and silver again. After you've cleaned the contacts, you'll want to push this rubber back on, tucking it around the edges, and very gently press it down into the groove and make sure that it feels okay again. and you'll want to test the continuity of this using a voltmeter. You'll want to put your ohm meter on the continuity scale and touch across both contacts, and then when you press the button you should notice some continuity, and looks like we're good to go. I snapped one of my tabs off over here, but it seems to be perfectly fine because this screw holds the circuit board down and it's lodged into place with the plastic over here. So everything back together, you'll plug this in, put it back in the car, and we'll see if it works. With the key in the on position, you'll hold the trip button down and you'll notice your maintenance required light goes off and your miles per gallon will begin to flash. So the trip button works. Hit the button again and it looks like we're good to go. Also, I left my I plugged in my SCD button. I don't know that it matters, but it's part of this trip system, so I plugged that in as well. After the instrument cluster's been reinstalled, I would recommend testing it out before you put all this plastic back together. And to test the system, you'll turn the key into the on position. I've already reset my maintenance indicator light, and to do so, you hold down the trip button for, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds, and you'll notice the miles per gallon flashes. And when that happened, my maintenance indicator light went off. And press the button again, and it's good to go. So looks like it's working. When you start the car, all the lights are off and you're back in business, and it didn't cost anything, just some time.